The whole thing about Javi Marroquin, his newish girlfriend, Lauren Comeau, and their big baby news. Well, it's been weird. To say the least. It's just that the timeline is so very, very messy, you know? It's messy to the point where it's actually kind of gross. Okay, so Javi first met Lauren last summer at a wedding, and they immediately hit it off, so they started dating, even though he lived in Delaware and she lived in South Carolina.
Back then, Javi said in an interview that his relationship with her feels right, but it must not have felt too right, because they only dated for a few weeks. Shortly after that, he started pursuing Brianna de Jesus, his fellow Teen Mom 2 cast member and longtime friend. After a few months of are they or aren't they finally confirmed that they were together last October. Things got serious fast. We're talking matching tattoos and engagement ring purchases.
But in January, they broke up because Brianna didn't want to rush into marriage, and also because Javi didn't want her to get any more plastic surgery. He hooked up with Kaylin Lowry for a bit in February, but then in March, he was back with Lauren, and a couple of months later, they made their pregnancy announcement. It's strange enough when you just lay things out like that, but when you get into the details, that's when things really start to get bad.
Back in October, just before he started dating Brianna, Javi was spending a lot of time with Kaylin, and there were many rumors that they were getting back together. Obviously that didn't work out, but they both admitted that they hooked up after he broke up with Brianna. Except that when Javi was still with Brianna, he tried to convince her to move in with him in Delaware because if she didn't, then he had another girl who would. Who else could that have been but Lauren? But Lauren did end up moving in with Javi in Delaware after he impregnated her, which, based on her due date of December 1st, would have been in the late February. Is there a lot of overlap with his dalliances with Lauren, Brianna, and Kaylin? Absolutely. It's pretty uncomfortable, but things might be worse than we thought, because seriously, look at this new photo of Lauren's bump. In her caption, she wrote that yesterday at dinner, "The first thing my niece said to me was that's a really big belly." And she's right. I do not know how this little boy has 11 plus more weeks to grow. We don't know either, girl.
She's been deleting negative comments on the photo. You can tell by all the ignore the haters comments but the lack of comments from haters, but we all know the score here. Lots of people believe that Javi and Lauren are fudging the due date a little because there was even more overlap between his relationships. Like, a popular theory is that he was sleeping with Lauren when he and Brianna were still very much an item. It's fun to consider, like teen mom scandals always are, and she really does look like she's about to pop. But let's consider everything, for the sake of fairness. Every pregnancy is different, and every pregnant woman's body is different.
Lauren is really, really tiny, as she said in one of her comments on her photo. She's only 5 feet tall, so Therese really no room for him to go except out. And maybe her uterus is positioned so that any sort of growth, like, you know, a fetus, would show a lot sooner than your average uterus owner. Really, we'll just have to wait to see what happens and go from there.
If Lauren has a premature baby in the upcoming weeks that happens to weigh 9 pounds, there'll be a clue, you know. Happy bump watching, friends.
What do you think about it? Share your opinion in the comments below the video. And also subscribe to the channel not to miss new, interesting videos.